What's good? It's your boy Fanon. We are 3 days away from the fight with Jorge Linares and Vasil Lomachenko for the WBA 135-pound championship. This is a fight in which the person who is often referred to as the number one pound for pound fighter in the world and a future superstar of boxing is fighting for his third title in his third for a title in his third weight class. And you would swear that the fight's not that there's not a fight happening, because there's too little to no buzz about the fight. And I wanted to talk about some of the promotion that was done for this fight, where Bob Arum uses Manny Pacquiao's name in association with Lomachenko to start selling this fight. Now, I don't blame Bob Arum. Bob Arum's a 90-year-old guy. I mean, hey, there's only so much energy you're going to have when you're almost 90 years old to sell these fights. And as I always say, whenever I make a video about Vasil Lomachenko is a great fighter. And I personally am looking forward to this fight between Lomachenko and Jorge Linares. However, you couldn't tell that the channels and the people that constantly say that other people hate on Lomachenko, the people that claim to be Lomachenko fans, don't say anything about the fight unless it's in response to something a quote-unquote Lomachenko hater has to say. So I figure, hey, I did a bunch of videos for Vasil Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. I know I did at least 16, 17 videos on the subject leading up to the Guillermo Rigondeaux Vasily Lomachenko fight. And there was a bunch of videos made by other people and in response, and a bunch of buzz around that fight, because so many people were wondering whether or not Vasil Lomachenko could beat Guillermo Rigondeaux or not. But when he's fighting the guy Jorge Linares, there's less than no buzz about it. And that's why I say a lot of times with these fighters, people that make videos in support of them aren't really their fans. They just are people that are looking to ride on that bandwagon and dislike another fighter. So it wasn't really that people were really rooting for Vasily Lomachenko, like are fans of Vasily Lomachenko. They just want to be able to point to Vasily Lomachenko and say that Vasily Lomachenko is better than other fighters that they don't like. Otherwise, you would see them proactively making videos and putting out information about the Vasil Lomachenko Jorge Linares fight. I personally don't see it. Now, before I get into the discussion about the specific conversation with Lomachenko versus Pacquiao, where Bob Arum says that's still possible for 2018, I want to thank everybody that attended an absolutely marvelous. Man, we had such a great live stream with a bunch of special guests last night. We had my man, Blood Boxing, the cat that originated the term YouTube boxing community, is one of the charter members of the LDBC. My man, Black Fight Fan TV. We had the Cali Enigma. We had D-Style Boxing. My man, Corey Lee Boxing. Corey Lee Boxing was there. The boxing clinic and more. And gosh, there's another channel whose name is skipping my mind right now, but I'll make sure I put it in the front of the video for the next time. But it was just an incredible live stream, real-time conversation with real boxing fans. So, and that's kind of what the purpose of the channel is to have those type of conversations. If you've not heard it, please go back and listen to it. We did it last night, and it was just a really, really good conversation about a bunch of different subjects. Now, I wanted the best way to know about when we do them is to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and that way you can be notified of when that happens. Jimmy J Smooth Network. That's what it is. Jimmy J Smooth Network. I was having a hard time, man, because I wanted to make sure I got everybody on that stream that was in that stream, and I pretty much believe that's it. Definitely a great conversations. Please subscribe to those channels, but hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified of the next time we have a really good discussion like that. And thank you to the super chats, everybody that donated to the channel. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. We raise money to help young athletes. And every time you guys support, watch videos, donate in super chat or Venmo or Patreon, however you do it, man, super appreciated. Thank you very much. Now, let me get into this article where I don't know how true this is because we're talking about Bob Arum here. But in the days of where I'm talking about Eddie Hearn every day, Bob Arum is sounding like an honest camper, man. That dude is you gotta work to catch Bob Arum in a lie. Oh my God. Eddie Hearn is easy money. It's like I said before, it's 2:00. Has he lied today? All right, so Lomachenko versus Pacquiao still possible for 2018, explains Arum by Steve Kim. Vasyl Lomachenko will look to become a 3-time world champion by taking the title from WBA lightweight belt holder Jorge Linares on Saturday night at Madison Square Garden. And on July 14th, the 8th division champion Manny Pacquiao will challenge WBA regular welterweight champion Lucas Matisse in Malaysia. For the last few months, there has been some discussion regarding the potential showdown between Lomachenko and Pacquiao at the junior welterweight limit of 140 pounds. Is there a chance that a fight between Pacquiao and Lomachenko will actually take place later in 2018? Bob Arum, who promotes both men, tells Boxing Scene, yes, it could happen, because the one thing at this stage that everybody has difficulty with is advising Manny as to who to fight next. He doesn't take advice kindly, and maybe at his age and because of his position in politics, he's used to making the decisions first. Of course, the fight depends on both fighters walking away with victories and uninjured from their upcoming assignment. Lomachenko-Pacquiao bout has been discussed for a couple years, and as Arum noted, it's key that the Pac-Man has real interest in it. Pacquiao has been talking to me for a while now about fighting Lomachenko, and he indeed wanted to fight Lomachenko rather than Lucas Matisse before that fight was made. But Lomachenko's father didn't want to do that fight because he wanted to test Lomachenko at 135. He's very methodical, and I'm not going to pronounce his name. Antonoli Lomachenko, said Arum of Lomachenko's dad. Pacquiao and his longtime advisor Michael Kontz have stated in recent interviews that Lomachenko would be their next target opponent. The talented Ukrainian has won titles at featherweight, super featherweight, and wants to continue climbing the divisional ladder to collect more world titles. Now, my personal feeling on this thing with Lomachenko versus Linares is that Lomachenko should win the fight. I don't think that it's going to be an easy fight for him. And I don't think that Linares will quit because I have a lot of beliefs about the consistency with which people who are not hurt by any way, shape, or form, seriously injured, are pulling out of fights with Lomachenko. I think there's some showmanship and promotional gamesmanship being played there. But of course, that's what I believe. That's just my gut feeling. It's nothing that I have proof about, and it just doesn't make sense to me. people quitting and stopping because they've really gotten beaten up. That's one thing. But quitting because you're not 4 fighters in a row quitting because they can't land, because they're having a hard time landing punches consistently and they think that they're going to get outpointed. That's something else. So at the very least, I hope that that's not the case with Jorge Linares. My understanding is that I'm not gambling. I'm not a gambler. That they're offering good money for the fight to get past 6 rounds. So if I was you, I would take that. But as far as Lomachenko winning, who's going to win the fight, I would lean with Lomachenko. Linares has 3 losses. I've not gone through Linares' film extremely closely. Of course, I've seen the fights with Lomachenko, the 10 professional fights that he's had. Or is it 11 now? I think it might be 11 now. I think he's either 9-1 or 10-1 with 8 knockouts. Yeah, he's got 8 knockouts. So, and that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and I think he's 10-1. But I would lean heavily towards Lomachenko. But the most important thing is, man, I think it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be on at a good time of the day too. ESPN is giving them a pretty decent time slot because this thing is supposed to start at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If my source is correct that I read, 6 p.m. Eastern time. 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6. The card is supposed to go on at 6 my time. I might have to double check that real quick, but regardless, the fight for certain is not going to be it's not going to be on late at night. So it's not going to start at midnight. You know what I mean? So that's a pretty good time frame for that fight to start. And I hope that it does well. I really do. Because I think that, like I said, I think Vasily Lomachenko is a great fighter. And the only beef that I have with I don't have any beef with Vasily Lomachenko as a fighter and as a person. Similar to the way that I feel about Sean Porter. I don't really like Sean Porter's style, but I think everything that I've heard come out of the mouth of Sean Porter, except for with the exception of him saying, that he wasn't thinking about Errol Spence Jr. If you just sweep that to the side, then I like him as a person. Now that Lomachenko's getting better at speaking English, and I can actually hear him speak in full sentences, and he has some, the ability to put some emotion behind his statement so that I can get an inclination about what he means more clearly. I like him. I love how after the Rigondeaux fight, I loved how he talked about he's put those fights and what's happened in those fights in proper context. And how I like him. Now, all of the other stuff, all of the, the Bob Arum, the ESPN rankings of him, the people who honestly and for real aren't even fans of Lomachenko, what they have to say about him, that's something else. That's a bunch of nonsense. And that's why I started off this video like I started it off. Because I don't see very few people talking about the Lomachenko fight. This fight. There was a bunch of videos because when the LDBC, when the new media's like Dante's Boxing Nation and Boxing Eagle, 78 Source TV, the other Black Fight Fan TV, other cats who are part of the LDBC, the 15 to 20 people that were constantly making uploads about it, you would get a bunch of responses in return. You get a lot of responses about it, a lot of back and forth, a lot of criticism, because that was sparking the conversation. This fight, there's like next to no conversation in the boxing community going on about it. I mean, I did a YouTube search and I know this is an unscientific search, right? And I just put Lomachenko in there and see what the next fight, how many fights come up, how many videos come up about it. You got one by ES News. You got Golden Boy did a promotional one. Then you have a replay 2 years ago of Lomachenko versus Salido. Then you got a video that I did about him. Then one 3 months ago from Dante's Boxing Nation. Then another one from a week ago from Fight Hub TV. But it's just not a lot of buzz about it. And I'm definitely not seeing it out of the channels that purport to be fans of Vasyl Lomachenko. So I figured I'd just go ahead and make a video about him today to help old Bob Arum out and get the word that there's going to be a fight this weekend. Because if this promotion keeps going like this, the numbers aren't going to do very well. Because there's no buzz. Now, Bob Arum talking about a fight between Manny Pacquiao and Vasily Lomachenko, personally, I don't believe it, because I don't think Vasily Lomachenko's father wants that fight. Because if that fight happens, that fight is going to happen at 140 pounds. I have a very, very hard time believing that Manny Pacquiao is going to go down to 135 pounds to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. That fight would have to be a situation where Vasyl Lomachenko moved up to something like 144 pounds, 145 pound, catch weight, something like that, which is going to be 10, 11 pounds bigger than he's ever fought at before. And the hesitation by his father and the fact that they're already getting, they're getting decent money, good money for taking the type of fights that they have right now. Now, Manny Pacquiao versus Lomachenko could probably be a pay-per-view event, I suppose. So that could be a good monetary reason for him to do that. But I just don't see it happening. I think Manny Pacquiao is going to have a hard enough time getting past Lucas Matisse. Or Lucas Matisse. Sometimes I hear people saying Lucas Matisse, other times Lucas Matisse. Hey, I'm talking about La Machina, the machine. But so I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening, man. I honestly, I don't really want to see it happen other than like what I say, morbid curiosity. What I want to see is unification in the lightweight division. The WBC had announced that Mauricio Suleiman had stated, I don't know if it's an announcement, if it's not official, but Mauricio Suleiman said that the WBC and the IBF champions, that being Mikey Garcia for the WBC 135-pound champion and Robert Easter, the IBF 135-pound champion, are in the final stages of talking, of negotiating a deal to fight. I believe it's either in June. I think that's in July in LA. So out of that fight will come a unified champion at 135 pounds. Then you have the winner of Linares and Lomachenko, and personally, I think that's going to be Lomachenko. And then clearly, a fight could be made between the WBO champion Ray Beltran and Vasyl Lomachenko, because they have the same promotional. They're in the same promotional outfit. So and Vasyl Lomachenko's had the WBO 126-pound title. He's had the WBO 130-pound title. So it would just, I was shocked when they were able to make the Jorge Linares fight. So I would expect that if Lomachenko beats Jorge Linares, which again, I know I'm being redundant, I believe he will do. That's a naturally easy next step, is for him to get the 100 and for him to fight Ray Beltran. I do think Ray Beltran would be a good fight to watch, but I favor Vasyl Lomachenko to beat Ray Beltran, and then hopefully that would set up a fight with either Robert Easter Jr. and Mikey Garcia, or Mikey Garcia and Vasyl Lomachenko. And that's the route that I would much prefer to see over a one-off fight between Vasyl Lomachenko and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's best days are long behind him. And I definitely wouldn't want for it to be for the WBA regular belt at 147 pounds for Lomachenko. We already have enough confusion over what these regular belts are and versus the super belt is for the WBA. So I definitely wouldn't have wanted to hear these cats tell me about how Lomachenko was a welterweight champion, the WBA welterweight champion, beating Manny Pacquiao at 144 pounds. I've had enough of that. I've had enough of that stuff. But I would like to see Lomachenko's do that at 135 pounds. I think that would be a very, very solid accomplishment in his career. And if he could do that in a year, then yeah, man, it'd be hard for anybody to beat him for Fight of the Year in 2018. When I don't believe that he deserved it in 2017. But hey, man, I'm looking forward to this fight this weekend, and we'll see what happens in the future. And with that, I'm out. Peace.